Systems work, people fail. Welcome to InsureMark's Advisor Mentorship Podcast with Vice President Jeremy Hauser.
When you set a goal, you make a commitment. A goal is deliberate. It's made with awareness and motivation. But to run 100 miles in the month of August in Texas while you deal with a series of major life events? That takes a special intention and focus to follow through. And Jeremy Hauser, Jeremy, when you set that goal, did you know what other challenges the month was going to bring?
Yeah, as we started the month of August, I kind of just put it out there in my, we just came off of the last week of July. We had our third child. So starting off the month of August, we were about, I think, 2 or 3 days into August, and I started picking up a little habit. Traditionally, I ran a lot over the last couple of months. So I've started become kind of an active runner at about 50, 60 miles a month. And when I've decided, 2, 3 days into August, about a week and a half removed from our third child coming, I said, you know what, let's go ahead and just put some more on our plate. And I put the 100-mile goal out there, and I actually did something that internally for me, it was more of a motivational thing. I actually put it out on social media. So therefore there's accountability there. So at that point, it's more of like, well, people have actually seen it. So not just me, I gotta achieve this. But starting off, I had no clue what all would that have to entail for a month to basically double the amount of mileage that I've ran in a 31-day period.
I was going to mention the fact that August does have 31 days. So you did that extra day, but
yeah, actually, I did not know that. So when I set up the goal, so the first, how it started, there was about 2 days into August, and I ran, just depending on timing, basically I ran my usual 3.2, maybe 3.5 miles, 3.2, 3.5 miles on the first day of August. And the second day of August, I ran for the first time, or I tried to run in the Houston heat. I tried to run a 5K, which is about, call it give or take 6.2 miles. So I only ran, I think, a little over 5, and the heat just absolutely wore me out. But when you look at your phone, I use this app within my phone of actually tracking, and I saw that, hey, I'm actually a little over 8 miles, almost 9 miles in. It's only been 2 days. Why not? Let's just go ahead and 10x this number, and let's do 100 miles for the month of August. And I had no idea that how lofty of a goal that was until we were in the thick of it.
All right. So in the thick of it, you have a new baby,
Mm-hmm.
and you moved.
Yes. Yeah. So we also moved at the end of August. So that was another thing added to the plate. We ended up, my wife and I mean, the realtor we used, it was incredible. He did an amazing job. So was able to actually negotiate, get us the home of our dreams. So we're officially moved into that house here for the last couple of weeks. So we actually we extended the offer, and they accepted that here towards I think it was right before Harvey was born. And at that point, it's like, okay, well, now we got to sell our home. So going into August, the stress of putting together the house, getting it all tidied up, and getting it ready for once we decided to move in, or when we could officially move in, we had to get the house all prepped up and put it onto the market. And he did an awesome job. He negotiated. He did. I did what's called a HELOC. You ever heard of a HELOC?
Mm-hmm. Home equity loan. Yeah.
Yeah. So, so I'm not just being active, I'm learning out there too. So we did a HELOC as well. And that's worked out really well, in this situation. So, just couldn't say more. He did an incredible job, for us, but yeah, so we ended up at currently, as we record today, my fingers are crossed, it should be hopefully going through by the end of this month. But we did get an offer in on the house, so that should hopefully go through by the end of September. So in that 30-day period, it was literally baby, find a home, request to purchase the home, and then now put our house on the market, and then they actually
move.
Yeah. And then we moved, on top of all of it. And so, and during the move, Just so crazy. So during the move, we actually, that 3-day period. So there were advisors from, I talked about it, our advanced sales training. So during that time frame, I had in Shermark, we had 80 financial professionals that actually flew in to Houston for our advanced sales training in Houston. And during that time frame, so that event, it was they fly in Wednesday, Thursday is the event all day, Wednesday's dinner, and then Friday it's a half day. So we had a lot of people here. Amongst my team, I had 33
Mm.
people of advisors and actual staff that were here to get the training and get all the good stuff that training provides them of just resources and really just good stories. And during that time frame, it was out in the woodlands. So my wife actually stayed with her parents during that 2-day, 3-day period, and we decided during that time frame for somebody to come in and basically take everything out of the house and go place it into the new house. So
Smart move. Smart move.
yeah, so it was, and there's people that can do that. It's incredible, like the amount of work that goes into that. My wife found this group, used them a couple times for organizing. Really good system they have there, but very convenient. So didn't have to hopefully put too much stress on the family. And you know what? Sometimes money can just buy happiness a little bit. So we had somebody do all of the move itself. And but during that time frame too, so we have 3 days of that event. I actually had my advisors, there was 5 of them that qualified for a contest that we did just amongst our peers. And 5 of those advisors out of the 33 total, they actually came in, some on Monday, some on Tuesday. So I was actually entertaining those advisors on Monday night, Tuesday, and then throughout the week. So that whole week really threw this goal of 100 miles into a chaotic mode. So
I believe it.
yeah, so a lot of challenges that came about during that time frame for sure.
And you said you'd never run that far in a month before.
No, never.
Then
And we had,
why did you choose to do this?
this was our 3rd child. So Harvey, born at the end of July. And I remember, so just as a father, you know, when the first child's born, and I'm pretty active. So I try to be pretty present, especially outside of work for the kiddos. So like bath time, that's usually, I try my best if I'm not doing work to try to be there for bath time for the kids. For feedings, I try to hopefully help out my wife at least for the feedings in the morning. So I just remembered from especially Olivia, because she didn't really eat that well as a baby. So Patrick didn't sleep well. Olivia didn't eat well. So here comes Harvey. So we don't know what to come from that. But I just knew the first month was going to be a challenge. And for me, it's all about just setting a goal. So sure, we have a baby and that's hard enough as it is. But the fact of just knowing that there's just the constant, you're sleeping for 90 minutes or you're sleeping for maybe he gives you 2 hours, but then he's waking up and you're going to have to feed him again of some sort. So just knowing the lack of sleep, I figured, you know what, I got to put something out there for me that's above and beyond what the necessity is. Like I need to be there for him, need to be there for my wife. But for me, just to put a goal that's just so crazy out there, that's where the 100-mile goal came in for running. And then sure enough, so started doing runs at like 5 a.m. There were evenings where it's like you can go to bed at 10 o'clock maybe or 9:30, but at the same time, it's like, well, but then he's going to wake up. It's going to be about 11:30 or so. So maybe I'd rather be showered, all good, not in a deep sleep, and then wake up and feed him. So therefore, I'd go for a run late at night.
Mm-hmm.
And it started working. It worked pretty well for for the most part. So we had some processes in there. My wife was great. She very supportive during the time frame. And I think for things that I've learned, it's just really procrastination. That's one of the number one things I learned through this is like, if you're tired, if you're exhausted and you've got that 3 miles, because I mean, think of it, you have 31 days. The most I typically run in a day is about 3.1 miles, 3.1 to 3.5. So if I take off a day, I mean, that's pretty,
Doubling
I
it.
mean,
Yeah.
that sets me back.
Yeah.
So that 31 day, actually the 31st day, I really didn't know, which is sad, but I didn't know until we came into, I think the 28th of the month. I actually looked at the calendar. I was like, Saturday, I think is the last day of August. And I realized it was the 31st. I was like, thank God, because I had about 6 more miles left that I had to finish.
Well, talk about the mindset and procrastination. That's the word that keeps coming to my mind. When you've got so many demands pulling you in
Yeah.
so many directions and you're just tired, you're
Yeah.
worn out. How do you get beyond procrastination?
I think it's for me, I can only speak on behalf of myself. So for me, for procrastination, I know that the job just has to get done. So it's got to get done. So ideally, and I mean, uh, people listen to this who know me really well, they know I love delegating. But I know that at the end of the day, nobody's coming to save you. If something is a goal of yours and you got to get it done, you're going to do it. And so for me, it's just mentally checking yourself into, sure, I can go back to sleep. I can try to capture an extra 90 minutes of sleep here after the feeding. So it's 4:30 in the morning, and it looks very tempting at 4:45, 5 o'clock. It's like, well, I can go back to sleep right now, or wake up at 6:30, wake up closer to 7, and then now we're starting the day, but I didn't do the run, so maybe I do it later on in the evening. But that mindset for me pretty much has gone out the window for years now, because you can't control later on down the line. So like, at least I can control that moment. So to control it, I thought to myself, in that situation, if baby's fed, baby's going back to sleep, other kids are already down, so there's going to be a little less chaos going on in our house. Might as well go ahead and take advantage of that opportunity to where instead of just doing 3 miles at 5 a.m., I'll just go do 6. I'm going to try to double up as much as I
Mhm.
can, so I can just make up for the what ifs for tomorrow, like the things that I can't control tomorrow, where, something happens, one of the kids is sick. There were so many factors that could happen to where it was like, all right, if I have this opportunity of 30 minutes or an hour, I need to absolutely maximize it, because the goal is to make sure that later on down the line, there's not going to be as much strain on me in the future. For me, running's very, I'd say running's one of those things that is a really good mindset, mental reset. So you can listen to a lot of books. I used to listen to a lot of music. Like
Mhm.
when you work out, what do you listen to, Patrice?
My trainer.
Okay, well, yeah. So
No, when I go on my own, I don't listen to music or books. I just let my mind go and do whatever it wants to do.
see, I wish I could do that. So you don't run with any headphones and you just go.
No, I just go. Just go.
Love that.
Yeah. I think if I find it's not that I run outside, I'll run on the treadmill. But I just think of different, let it go. What's going to come today? What thought will come to me? But what this brings to mind your advisors. Did they see you running when they were there? Did anyone join you?
um so during that time frame, let me think back here. So that Wednesday, Tuesday morning, I had advisors that came in that actually recorded their videos in our office here in Houston. So that morning, my wife actually was already, she was in Sugarland.
Mhm.
So she was with her parents. So Tuesday morning, that was an opportunity where I basically, the kids were with her. So they're safe and sound. Home was getting prepped. So we had boxes all over the house at that point. So just waking up Tuesday morning, it was like, all right, I mean, if now's the opportunity, I don't know what this week's going to bring. So I think I ran 6 miles on Tuesday. Um, and then Wednesday as well. So those days to be able to just really knock out a lot of miles. The advisors didn't see me, but they got the aftermath, because obviously I came in and I saw them and I was dead tired. But I think at the event itself, I had to on Thursday, yeah, Thursday morning. I decided, since I actually stayed out there in the woodlands, I ran on a treadmill
Mm.
for a couple miles. So I ran, I think I think I ran 3 miles on the treadmill. I don't know how you do that. The treadmill's tough.
It's different. I don't know. I find it, as I say, it's just I let my mind go. I don't even think about it. Just do it.
See, I feel like that's even harder because it's basically you're just running in place and you're kind of just looking out the Marriott's window and whatever walks
Yeah,
across,
yeah,
like that's it.
yeah.
That's yeah. So we're so it's some of the guys, actually some of the advisors were there and they obviously didn't know what was going on. But it's just more of a commitment. It was a commitment to me that it was basically, all right, I put a goal out there. I'm going to try to do it. I know going into this, like this week, we knew with advisors flying in, we had this event. Me and Christina knew that was going to be a very challenging week. She didn't, I mean, we didn't realize what all goes into moving as well to top, stacked on top. So the month of August was just an absolute grind. So,
And was that I know you had the heat, but didn't you have storms too?
yeah, we had a lot of
Northwest?
storms.
Yeah.
Oh my, yeah. So
Yeah.
the the storm aspect of it, there was multiple nights where it would just start drizzling and raining on me, and then I mean I sweat enough as it is, but then when you start to add water and just
Mhm.
add water to me, it just all of a sudden you become waterlogged, pretty heavy for your clothes. I think also mosquitoes were absolutely terrible
Oh.
in August. So I was just layering up, but it would basically wear off after about 2 miles or so. So I
Mm.
obviously wasn't using the best protection. So I won't bash whatever brand that was, but by mile three or so, mosquitoes got a little bad.
Mm.
And then with the move, what actually happened is so we officially started living in our new home the end of August. So that whole last week of August, and it removed me from my usual trail. So I had to learn a new trail on top of this. And so as runners know, like your benchmarks, when you're
Mhm.
running out on the trails and you can get to a certain point and you're like, okay, I'm at 2 miles now, I'll turn around or whatever. So some of these miles, or as I was running, I kind of had to just create it throughout the week. And so, I mean, I got it down now. I know exactly what my 3 mile run would be, my 6 mile run. But just the uncertainties of running, some of the places didn't have lights. So,
Mm.
yeah, there's just so many different things, but more so, I think it goes back to the commitment. So just as we went into that very stressful week, I was at about 75 or 80 miles already. So I knew that I had about 10 days to finish 25 or 20 miles or so. So based off of that, I could probably get away with maybe 1 day or 2 days and not having to run. So I can actually coast into the finish line. But sure enough, by the last day, which was the 31st of August, I think I had 6.4 miles left. So I completely did my math terrible. That was my my longest run, happened to be my last run. Um, but it was great. And so actually I do remember vividly that last run. And the reason why it's I think pretty just fascinating. So like the last day you do this incredible goal. So I've put the goal out there that's double what I usually have done of just mileage. So August 31st, I have 6.4 miles left to finish. The most mileage I've ran so far during this time frame was 6 miles or 6.1. And so here I am, last day, have to finish the goal. That goal could have been 20 miles or 15 miles. With my wife's permission, I would have finished that day. So I did a
Mm.
lot of runs where I would run 3 in the morning. So 3 miles in the morning. And then later that night, I would actually run 3 miles. So I try to make up. Um, and that actually ended up helping me a lot because to get the endurance to actually run 6 miles consecutively, it took me about 2 weeks or so with the Houston heat. It's just exhausting. Every day was 100 degrees. So the last day of August at 6.4 miles. So I start to go outside. It's a morning run. And for the first time, and I don't know how long, it was about 75 degrees outside. I was like, well, this is nice. So I go out there and I start to run. And then as I was running, I got to about mile 4 or so. And then it started to drizzle, but it wasn't like hard rain. It was just very just like almost like a sprinkler, just misting.
Yeah.
So it wasn't bad or uncomfortable, but it was almost as if like, you know what, this is like the finish line. And it felt good and rewarding of like, you put this goal out there. Here's your last day. Let's try to finish through this. And so the weather conditions couldn't have been better. And I think it just goes back to just like, if you owe it to yourself, you committed to do something at the end of the tunnel, there's going to be rewards for you.
Satisfaction.
And I don't, and that's almost like, it's like a spiritual thing almost. I don't want to get too, biblical spiritual here, but it was just very, I'm telling you, every single day, it was like 100 degrees. And that last day, knowing that I had that many miles left to do, and the fact that it almost became like just a unique, it wasn't like Houston weather for that moment in time, for that hour. So I was running. It just felt that satisfaction, like you said, is just like undescribable. So when you're done, you're just like, man,
let's do it again.
Yeah. You're like, what's next? So, but yeah, so that's the next thing my wife, so Christina actually asked me, she was like, so you're going to do 120 in September? And I was like, no. I was like, no, I'm going to, let me enjoy this one for a little bit, but who knows what the next goal is. But I thought basically the journey of the 100 miles of running, it is kind of like business, because you can't procrastinate. You can't push off goals. Eventually you got to do it. So you can control what you control. So it was a choice. If I wasn't falling asleep or going back to sleep in the morning, or if I wanted to go to sleep really early at night, those little 3-mile runs here and there at 10 o'clock at night, just if I did not do that last week, there's no way I would have been able to take care of the big picture unless I take care of the day. So I think that was something that it was a challenge for myself, but most importantly, I think moving forward, it's just raising the bar and just creating standards. So now, who knows? I don't know. This month, I mean, I've already started to run. We'll see where I end up with it, but it's nice to know that, to put a goal out there and to achieve it. And with all the other stuff that was going on, it's pretty good satisfaction.
Yeah, I should think so. And a little bit of self-confidence.
Yeah.
That you accomplished this.
Yeah.
You can say yes. You can be proud of it.
Yeah, I can be proud. I'm the guy that if you give me a compliment, I'm going to insult you because I feel uncomfortable. So,
but this is something now you can take and you can share with advisors.
Yeah. And I think, it's almost a challenge. And what I would highly recommend too is, so one of the things that I think one of the biggest, because it's time, there's so much time that goes into that. Mm-hmm. Once again, still being present, want to be present with my wife, want to be present with the kids, still all the things that go on in life when it comes to the business, but also just life events that happen. So really it was just checking into, your downtime, just removing the downtime and just focusing on this little goal. And then all of a sudden 31 days flies by like that, because you're so focused on this like crazy goal that you think you can do it. You don't know until you actually are in the thick of it. And I think that's one of the more rewarding things is now my standards just raised a little bit higher to moving forward. And yeah.
All right. Well, coming up on the podcast, what guests are you going to have with whom you can share this?
Oh, so mindset, goals. Definitely. I'm going to have some incredible entrepreneurs that are coming up. There's actually a book that I recently read. I don't know if you've heard of it. Have you heard of The Courage to Be Disliked?
No, I haven't heard of it. No.
Yeah, it's like it's a Japanese. It's like Adlerin psychology. So it's interesting book. So I started listening to that as I was running, and I think so during that time frame, so much time that goes into the actual runnings or the actual runs, 30 minutes here, 60 minutes there, where music eventually, it's just, I mean, music's music. You can only get so pumped up. So I wanted to start the intake. So it's like what comes in and then will come out. So listening to a lot of podcasts. I actually started listening to some books. That was a great book that I listened to. It's about 6.5 hours long of an Audible. So that lasts me about a week. So just about five, or about, no, yeah, about 25 miles. So if you're a walker, I would highly recommend checking out the book, The Courage to Be Disliked. Ichiro, I forgot his last name, but you'll see it. It's one of the Amazon bestsellers, 10 million copies sold. And really just about, it's an incredible book. I can't speak highly enough about it. It's really about digging deep inside. It was good, inspirational while during this challenge to listen to something like that. They also came out with the book, I think 3 years later. It's called The Courage to Be Happy. So that's what I'm reading or listening to right now during these runs. So for the people that are coming on to the show, really wanted to help provide the audience with some good entrepreneurs, also people that just have crazy lofty goals, just to bring some optimism. We're going to have some insane times here towards the end of the year, because I know we got election. We have just so many things that are going on in our country at the time frame. So trying to bring some optimism and then really just bring some good people with some high standards to maybe raise the bar of individuals that are checking us out on the show.
All right. Is there anything we've missed here? I mean, you really bared your soul, but it was good. It was interesting.
I hope it was good.
Yes, it was. How many pairs of sneakers did you go through?
Oh, actually, you know what? That's a good question. I used two sneakers. I will tell you a better brand, On. So I have some Cloud shoes. It's like On Cloud. Those are very good running shoes. Some shoes that are not so good are definitely training shoes, or shoes that you would do like lifting with. You got to make sure you have thick soles, or those like the Cloud, almost the foam at the bottom. So other things you learn, shoes, right shirts to wear, certain length of shorts to wear. It's just, there's so many experiences. So to my runners, I appreciate you guys. I hope this episode didn't bore too many of you, but most importantly, the message is just put lofty goals out there, raise your standards, and hopefully satisfaction is at the end of the tunnel for you.
And we will have a closing line on running from Jeremy Hauser.
Yeah, that'd be great, actually. Yeah.
Well, how can advisors reach you, Jeremy?
They can reach us at insuremarkamp.com/Jeremy. So that's our website, or feel free to connect with us on LinkedIn at Jeremy Hauser.
Anyone who's had kids totally gets it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
All right, folks, create your own goals and celebrate them when you do meet them. Be sure to follow this podcast too and share with others. I'm Patrice Sikora, and thanks for being with us.